Is this the type of film that you did research film?
Yeah, I did a little research, but not a lot. But I just talked to the director a lot because he knew the character. He wrote it. He wrote the script, so that was a good thing working with a writer director because they know the script. They kind of have an idea of the character. So I talked to him a lot. I didn't read the book because I felt like he made the character even better in the movie. So that's what makes basically what I did was just took the director's lead on it.
Now, this is the first time, and I'm not sure or remember if you had a scene with him, but this is the first time that you and De Niro are appearing together since you guys were in Jackie Brown nearly 15 years ago. What was that feeling like?
Oh man, it was great because he's such an iconic actor and a good person. Also, because we had a great time working with each other. And it was just watching him was just a good thing. Just a lot of fun watching him do his thing, watching him work and stuff. So it was good.
What was the difference between obviously working with him back then and seeing him then and working with him now in person?
Well, I didn't have any scenes with him back then. We had a few scenes in this one. I don't know if they made the movie or not, but the difference it was I didn't see him that much in that last movie because my scene was so small in the Quentin Tarantino movie, but. In this one, I did a few scenes with him, and it was just great. Just being next to him, I was like, De Niro.
And just this ensemble cast from Julia Stiles and Jennifer Lawrence. Just talk about just working with this entire cast, and you had, with the exception of this one scene where you weren't in, but I'm sure you got to see it. What was the ensemble like?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Julian Stiles was oh man, she was good. She was good, and Jennifer Lawrence was great, and Rob De Niro of course was great. All of them was just great actors, just top of their game, and it made it just special. It made you also stay in the character even more because they were so good.
Mm-hmm. Now, as I mentioned before, this is the first time we've seen in a long time. It's a dramatic film. It's a comedic dramatic film. Why have you stayed away in a way from the big screen? I'm sure Rush Hour 2-3 made money. I'm sure you were getting a lot of scripts. What took you so long to get back in the game?
Well, you know what? I decided to go back and do stand-up comedy. I went to the comedy clubs and start from scratch because I started out doing stand-up comedy. I always wanted to do something. I thought that would make me a better actor, a better everything. So I went to the clubs, worked for a few years. Then I toured the country for 2 years, and then I just finished filming my stand-up comedy movie that I always wanted to do. It was a lifelong dream because I grew up watching Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy do their stand-up comedy movies, and I always wanted to do one. And I wanted my career to go a lot like Richard Pryor's, from stand-up to movies to acting, and then never let the stand-up really go. So I just finished it. I shot it in Atlanta. It's coming out in theaters early next year. So.
What's it called?
That's what I was doing. There's no name right now. We got a few names, but it just probably be Chris Tucker Stand Up Live, something like that. So.
There's been a lot of comedians that obviously are out now. Who makes you laugh?
Oh man, it's so many people that makes me laugh, but I still the legends still make me laugh, like Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, these guys. They make me laugh the most, because I watch their movies, and that's what I grew up on.
Mm-hmm. But today, from the comedians that we're seeing now, from the stand-ups of guys who are coming up now, is there anybody who you've seen that stood out?
Well, of course, great comedians like Bernie Mac, who's no longer with us, but he was great. Dave Chappelle's great. A lot of guys are great. Kevin Hart's good. He's good comedian, great comedian, and a lot of good guys out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now that you are back in the game, you've got the stand-up comedy coming up. Is there anything else on the horizon?
Well, that's pretty much it. Then we have a few other movies coming. We're just trying to decide which one to do. But that's going to be the next one in the pipe with my stand-up comedy movie coming out. So, but we were right on the tails on this one. We're going to be jumping into something soon.
I don't know if you've seen it. There's a foreign film that's pretty good. It's called The Intouchables.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Has there been talk about you, playing that role for the American version?
Yeah, you know what? I have been talking with them about doing it. So hopefully, something will come out of it because I really like the movie, and they're in the process of getting it together now. So that's a possibility that might happen.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's get the elephant out of the room. People have been talking about Friday.
Yeah.
What's happening? Do you want to be part of it? You know, you've seen different things online about what you may have said, what others have said. You know, where are you with Friday if you want to be a part of it?
Well, you know, I don't think I'm going to do it because, you know, it's been so long ago, but I'm flattered that people want to see another one, a movie that we did so long ago, and also want to see me in it. But I you know, because I want to definitely do some new stuff at this point, this time in my career. But I thought, you know, how great it is that people still love that movie, because, you know, it took a life of its own. You never know what these movies are going to do when you do them, but you hope that it does well, but you never know. You know, you never know that, but you do know when you're doing it if you're feeling it, because you're in the moment and you're just making it. You know, you're having fun.
Now, after doing the Rush Hour 3 movies, and I'm sure the combination of those 3 movies made you very successful financially, you know, have you been able to give back and try to produce your own films or help bring other producers and stars in the game?
Yeah, you know, I'm definitely in the process of that now. That's one thing with the stand-up comedy movie. I did that, produced that, and then we got more stuff that we're looking at doing too, also like that. So I'm excited about that.
It's 15 years later, in a way, since taking away the Rush Hour 3 movies, or the Rush Hour movies in general. And we're seeing you in a different light. You're older. With this role in Silver Linings Playbook, you're a little bit more resigned, because you're not like the laugh-out riot Chris Tucker that we remember from the other movies in the 90s. You know, is this a new change of pace for you, like the reinvention of Chris Tucker to see on the big screen?
Well, I think it's I think it's a start of something that people haven't seen a lot of since the Dead President. Something like dramatic like this. I want to definitely do more dramatic roles, but also do more roles that may be serious but have some comedy elements to it. So.
And you mentioned, obviously, when you're doing the stand-up, you know, you like to remember, you know, the guys of the past, like Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and stuff like that. Has anyone ever talked to you about doing a biopic? Everybody always talks about, you know, they want to play this or that. Is that something you think about?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to do somebody like we're looking at the Otis Redding story, doing the Otis Redding story, and also a few other stories. But yeah, I think it'd be fun. Somebody that I admire. Or like if I think I can pull it off, yeah.
And can look like. There's been so much backlash about this whole Zoe Nina thing because of the fact that she doesn't appear like her, as opposed to her embodying the spirit of who Nina was. You mentioned Otis Redding. Obviously, people are going to match your faces together and say, okay, I think he can pull it off.
Yeah, I don't think people have to look exactly like the person, but they do have to embody the spirit, like you said. And if they can get close to that, then that's even better, because people say, oh, now, you know, at first I didn't think he could pull it off, and I'm looking at him now, he made me look, I see that person in them, so.
So, if you're not doing stand-up, and obviously you're not doing films, what keeps you grounded? What have you been doing that, you know, obviously makes you stay humble and true to yourself?
You know, I travel a lot, you know, and I do stuff, you know, I got a life, you know, I have a son, I'm a father, I do stuff like that, regular stuff, you know.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, obviously coming November 23rd, why should anyone go check out Silver Linings Playbook?
Well, Silver Linings Playbook is a great movie. It's about a family dealing with family issues, and Bradley Cooper's character has bipolar. He's had mental issues. He meets my character in a mental institution. We meet each other, and my character is a really positive character, really good character, and he tells Bradley Cooper's, you know, to positive things, and Bradley gets out, his character gets out, and try to get his life back together, and my character's, you know, a big reason for that, because they became friends, because they're similar, they have a lot of similarities, I guess. They were going through some similar stuff, and Robert De Niro's character is great. He has a little OCD, so it's dealing with something that's relevant now, I think, because a lot of you hear about a lot of stuff that sparks up in real life. You know, people do crazy stuff. You're like, well, it might be something like that, dealing with some mental issues, and we heard about that in Denver, for an example. So it's relevant for this time. It has some sports in it. It's a holiday movie. It has family in it. So it's a great all-around movie.
Are you a Phillies fan?
I'm on the bandwagon of not Dallas, but the Falcons. I'm on, and we lost yesterday, but that's all right.
And what do you make of this? You're from LA. What do you make of the whole Lakers situation?
Oh man, it's crazy news. I heard that. I thought it was crazy. I love the coach that they had. He's a great guy.
But at 1-4, something had to happen.
It's crazy. You gotta give somebody a chance.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right.